What's up YouTube, my name's Will, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to service your Audi A3 8V diesel. And in this video we're going to be going through how to drain the oil, how to change the oil, do the oil filter, sump plug. We're also going to be doing I'm going to show you guys how to do the air filter, and that's for both if you have a panel filter or a performance filter like this one. And we're also going to do the fuel filter today as well, so full service. Let's get into this. Right lads, so the first thing that I always do when I'm servicing is just take off the oil filler cap and pull out the dipstick. It releases some of the pressure in the system because we're about to go and drain the oil now in a second, and it just makes the draining process a lot easier, helps you crack the sump nut. Now for the air filter, what I'm going to say is, if you don't have a performance air filter, instead you're going to have an air box here. The air box is going to have T25 screws all around the edge of it, and all you're going to want to do is just loosen those off, back them off so you can lift the top of the air box off, and you'll be able to get access to your panel filter and just swap that out, put the top of the air box back on and screw the T25s back down. If you have a performance air filter like this, I actually recently did a video showing you guys how to clean your performance air filter. I'll leave a card up in the corner, and the link will also be in the description to that video, so I highly recommend you go and check that out. And that's basically what I would do whilst the oil is draining. So we're going to go and crack the sump nut now.
So a first step that you have to do is take off your skid tray underneath the car. What entails of this is 3 T25 head screws either side, and then there's 3 Phillips head screws at the back.
Oh, it's kind of hard to see. There's going to be one there, one in the middle, and then one, oh Jesus Christ,
over that side.
One this side as well.
But as you can see, the under tray on Will's car is absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
Because he did the...
Because coilovers.
Yeah, because of coilovers. And the spud at the electric gate. But
yeah.
We won't talk about it.
We won't talk about it.
Yeah, we won't talk about it. So that's 1. So that's that side done. Then 3 more on the other side, and then the Phillips heads at the back. So we'll get back to you when we have this off. Right, so while Will is taking off the last 3 screws at the back, when you're trying to take it off, the last screw, it's just going to fall down, right? So make sure that you hold it at the back so it doesn't fall, because you have clips here right at the front, and if you can see that, right, so it's clips that sit outside, but there's also 2 of these that you have to press inwards to clip it out. If you let that just fall, potentially it could crack, and it won't sit on, it won't stay on properly when you go to put it back on. So just be careful of that. And then like that, and it comes off.
Like this, on your fucking face, like. And then you just pass it out to a mate.
Which your mate is lying on the ground with you, so it can't really do much.
Great success. Right, so now you have the skid tray off, you have access to your sump here, and the sump nut is right at the back. We're also going to have access to the oil filter, which is fucking up here somewhere, but we'll get to that in a minute. First of all, we have to get this sump nut off. So this is going to be a 19mm bolt. If you don't have a 19mm socket, a 3/4 inch is sufficient. I'm not going to say exactly the same, because
it's sufficient.
Met to imperial or imperial to metric, it's a bit, you know, touch and go, but it'll do the job. Like, so if you run into this problem, which is you can't get the bolt undone, our usual trick for this, get yourself a trolley jack, put the ratchet up kind of to where you can safely jack this up to be underneath it. Right, and now what we're going to do is jack it up until, well, if this fucking thing will get in the hole, we're going to jack it up, try crack the bolt. You can kind of see the bolt moving a little bit here. check. Now I can do it by hand.
Sometimes you might have to do that 2 or 3 times just to crack it enough to where you're able to get it. But
this one wasn't too bad, but
on mine it was.
On yours it was. Now what we're going to do is Ben is going to pass me the big bucket. Put your bucket a little bit back from the hole, just because it's going to kind of come out horizontally. So I'm going to put it this way so we can grab the handle after. And I really should be wearing gloves, but fuck it anyway. I'm going to finish undoing this nut and try my best not to drop it in the hole. Not to drop it in the bucket, I should say, because we are going to be replacing the sump nut, but I don't want the nut to go into the waste oil. So watch there be no oil in me. There we go. Lovely. Like I said at the start of the video, whilst this is draining, you can be doing your air filter, and then once this is drained, we can crack on with getting the oil filter out. Right, so we're after running out and coming back. All the oil is drained now. There's just a few drips coming out. So I'm just going to wipe the excess from there. Just put it around the treads on this just to lubricate it. I'm after getting a new sump knot. Also, by the way, all the parts and tools and everything that you need to do the service will be linked in the description directly for you, so you can just go down there, click the link and get everything you're going to need to do this service. So I have my new sump knot here. Just going to thread her in. Be very careful when you're threading this in that you don't cross thread it, because if you cross thread it, it ain't coming out. I will leave the torque spec for this bolt on screen. I think it's around 32, somewhere between 25 and 32 newton meters. But if you're just doing this with a normal ratchet, you really don't need to go too hard with it, like just until it's kind of nip tight. If you're really pulling on it, like, that's enough. I'm not gonna force it any further, because if you do, it is not going to come off.
And it'll be a bastard for the next time.
It's going to be an absolute bastard, as we found out with Ben's van. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to tackle our oil filter, which for me is right here. So as you can see, I have this kind of, there's a line that runs directly below it, and it's attached to this little clip. So I've unclipped it from the clip just so I can kind of push this out the way and get in there. Now what I'm going to need to do here is I'm going to need a 10mm, and I'm going to need to get this little nut undone there so we can drain the oil filter before we crack it, so that we don't get shitloads of oil coming out.
So what Will is doing here, he's just cracking that little nut, is what he said earlier on.
It's not 10mm, it's 13mm. So what I'm going to do is, the pan you had from earlier draining the oil, just drag that down here. And now this is going to be half a bend to film, but I'm just going to crack this nut
and wait for the golden liquid to pour out.
Now this is always very messy because there's always shit in the way.
As you can see, it's classic German engineering, because oil filter is just underneath or above a whole heap of fucking coolant pipes and fucking all sorts. It's not the best.
So there's your nut that you want to take out just to drain the oil filter. Unless you're replacing the whole oil filter housing, do not drop this in the oil, because you're going to need it. And I'll show you now, there's an O-ring on here that we're going to replace. Once I get the cap off, I will show you. So I'm happy enough with the most of the oil is drained out of that now. It is still kind of dripping a small bit. So what I'm going to do,
how did you get oil on your neck?
Oh, man, listen, you get it everywhere with this job. You get it fucking everywhere when you can't get out of the way because you don't have a ramp. So I'm just cleaning that just to kind of...
Because it's poverty spec.
Poverty spec is right. Now what I'm going to do here is I have my big oil filter socket, again linked in the description for all the tools and everything you're going to need. Get that onto your oil filter, make sure it's on there good. and just give her a bit of a crack there, and she should come no bother.
So you just need to be fairly careful, because this same exact filter housing is on my van, and if you watch the previous video on when I serviced my van, we had a bit of bother because it's a plastic housing, so it can ring fairly easy. So you do have to have a good firm grip on your 32mm socket, because if you don't, it'll ring it out, and it's an absolute cunt to get off, like, past it. So just be aware of that it is plastic. Just go easy with it and make sure that the socket is fully sitting on it before you try start to move it, because it will ring and you're gonna have to get a new one, like I did.
This is going to come out and the oil filter should be attached to it. Oh, lovely.
Oh, lovely.
The oil filter is stuck in the fucking thing. Which can happen, so let's give this a bit of a wiggle here. And just pull that out.
Oh, look at that.
There's your old oil filter.
A good thing to do though is when you take out dry filter, check in between all the rivets that there's no metal.
Yeah.
So you know that it's fucking, that's actually,
there's no metal shavings going through your fucking engine block, like. Right, so now we have all of this out, we can clean this up, replace the O-rings and get the new filter in. So let's get out from under this fucking car. So we have the new oil filter here from Man Filters. Again, links in the description for everything. You have your new oil filter, and they're also going to give you new O-rings, right? So the big one is going to go around your actual housing. Let's get this old one off. I'm just going to get a pick tool here.
link in the description.
plug, man. There we go. There's the old O-ring. There is a bit of kind of like old shitty oil around the edge of this, so I'm just going to give it a quick wipe, and I'm going to get a bit of the new oil on my finger. Just to grease this up a small bit so it's not going on bone dry. Probably be handy enough using the pick tool to get it back on as well as get it off. So, and where it's going to sit is like the second groove up, if that makes any remote sense. Yeah. It's in this big groove. You can see it's kind of different to where the thread is. Then this last one is bigger, so that's where you want this to sit. And the other O-ring is just on the draining plug, so we're going to get that off. Again, give this a quick wipe. And we have the new O-ring here, which again, I'm just going to quickly get a bit of this, rub it on, and stick her over if we can. And that'll just sit in that groove there. You can then put this plug back in, and I will tighten this up once it's back on the car. Now what you want to do is you want to get your new oil filter, and what we're also going to do with this is we're going to pour a small bit of this new oil into here. Swirl it around. Now these little prongs on the bottom is what's going to hold it in here, so we're going to put this in. See there, it's actually, that's in there now, it's not coming out. And then we can put this back in. I'm going to get my torque wrench again. Now the torque spec again for this I think is about 32 Newton meters, so that's where I'm going to set this. I'm going to try and get this started by hand, and then I'll go in with the extender bar and everything. It's a bit of a fiddly job to get it lined up so it will go through past everything. I think that's it there. Right, it's hand tight now. I'm going to go in with the torque wrench and wait until it clicks off. Hear that? That little click there? That means it's torqued. Now I'm going to go back in with my 13mm and do up the draining plug. And there is no particular torque spec for this, it's just till it's tight. Don't fucking overdo it, because again, when you go to do this the next time, it's going to be a pain in the hole trying to get it out. Doesn't need to be stupid tight. Now we're done now with everything on the underside of the car, so we're going to go back up top and we're going to tackle the fuel filter. Right, so the last step here with the oil is get yourself some 5W30 fully synthetic. This is stop start because mine's stop start. It'll probably take about 4 litres, but what we're going to do is, obviously the car, as you can see, is on ramps at the moment, so it's on like on an incline, so we're not going to be able to dip it until it's all settled and everything. So we're going to put this in, let it all kind of run through the system, and then once we get it off the ramps, we'll leave it a few minutes before we check the dipstick to see if there's enough in there. If there's not enough in there, you can just put more in at that point. If you put too much in now, it's going to be a problem because you're going to have to go and drain it out again. You're going to have to jack the car up, take the sump plug out, you have to do everything again. So it's better to underdo it than overdo it. So we're going to just do these 4 litres here and see how we go. Right, that'll do. So you can put your filler cap back on now, and you can put your dipstick back down.
The one thing that you don't want to forget to do is put your skid plate back on.
Yeah, because we did that before where we done the whole service, like, yeah, grand, right, get it off the ramps, put it down, and then we turned around and there it is on the floor. So we then had to put the car back on the ramps to just put the skid pan back on, which is very irritating. So the next thing we're going to do at this point, like I was saying, when the oil was draining, you should have done your air filter. You had time to do that. So we've done oil filter, air filter. Now we're going to do the fuel filter.
So to take this off, by the looks of it, they're T20s, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 right in at the back here, and then the whole top plate of this should just lift off, and you should be able to access the fuel filter inside it, a little reservoir.
Now, for the love of God, do not lose these bolts. I have a magnetic tray for just such a problem.
At least the other tray is not on, so
yeah, these will just drop straight out of the bottom, and that's another reason to leave it there, Ben, in case you drop a 10mm socket.
Listen, I'm just living up to the meme of the 10mm sockets.
Yeah, I know. So we've those 5 bolts removed now. This should come off. It could be a bit tough. There we go. Right, so in here is your fuel filter. As you can see, it's full to the top. So
I love the smell of diesel.
Oh, I fucking love the smell of diesel in this ring. Right, so once we have this off, this should just lift out. It might be a bit stiff because the seal might be stuck depending on how long it's been since the last time you've done this. So I'm just going to lift this out. 1, 2, 3, hop. Before we do install the new filter, which I have here.
Colour difference is crazy.
I know, it's mental. We're going to need to take this old fuel out and give the housing a good clean. So I have this handy tool here, which again will be linked in the description.
Are we going to empty the fuel into that?
No, I have a plan, don't you worry now. This side of the tool, the top half, this is the intake and this is the outlet. So this end of the hose is going into here to get this fuel out, because as Ben, I'm sure, can show you here, it's kind of half full with fuel, and you don't want to be putting nice clean fuel filter into old dirty fuel. So I'm going to use the empty tub of oil just to have a container to put it into. So I'm going to put the outlet into this side, and hopefully this isn't gonna fuck up on me. And you can see there it's drawing it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. That will do. You can remove this now, put this out of the way, and we can give this a bit of a clean. I'm gonna go and get a fresh microfiber towel, and I'll be back. Get down in here with the microfiber and just give it a bit of a wipe. And I'm also just gonna clean, well, I say clean, give this contact surface here a bit of a wipe. And the underside of this is kind of ganky as well, so I'm just going to give that a quick wipe with the old microfiber. Like, I could, if I really wanted to, get a wire brush and like all this kind of corrosion that's happening around the edge, you could get a wire brush and scrape that off, but then that would involve like covering this up completely and everything, and like I said, like I don't have a way of doing that. So just give it a quick wipe, that will be sufficient enough, as long as you've drained the oil out of here. Drain the fuel out of here. If there's oil in there, you're fucked. Drain the fuel out and give it a quick wipe. That should be sufficient enough.
As you can see, it's fairly clean inside.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this kind of halfway with fuel. So this is my can, his name's Jerry. Love the smell of diesel.
It wasn't too full.
I'm going to fill it about just under halfway. I have a friend who can stand here and hold this for me. If you don't, then what you want to do is get a bungee cord and just wrap it round the back of one of these pipes.
There's a little hole there. You could put the bungee cord in there.
You could.
And onto the back.
Wrap it around here, just to stop it from falling back down, because it's fierce tough. Taking the plastic off. There's no kind of, I don't think there's any particular orientation that this needs to go in, but we're just going to thread this back down into there, and that's kind of a nice snug fit. You can see it's not gapping anywhere. Now, the other thing that I'm going to need to do now, which is the most fiddly part of this, is I need to make sure that this filter housing is actually full to the top. So what I need to do is cover this hole in the middle and pour more fuel in, and see these gaps in the side, it's going to go down the edge there into the filter, and then when it's pooling on the top here, we know it's full enough. So this is the most fiddly part of all. See the way the fuel's kind of going down the holes around the edge. Right,
yeah, so
now we're at the top. Now we're at the top. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now at this point, we can stick this back down onto here and get our bolts back in. I might just give the engine bay a quick wipe, because as you can see, there's kind of bits of fuel splattered everywhere from doing this. So I'm just going to give this a quick wipe with the old microfiber.
So what we're doing here next, before we take it off the jacks, we're gonna get the skid plate back on. So I'm gonna pass this into wheel the way that it goes. Wheel's already underneath the car, as you can see. And again, as I said earlier on, these little tabs have to be on the inside, but these tabs have to be on the out. You're all right there, Will, if you just push. Yeah, it's clicked in there.
And it's clicked on this side here as well. Yeah. So now you have this in. I'm going to put the back ones of these, actually. I'm going to put the back ones in first. Now these really don't need to be very tight. It's literally just to hold on a piece of fucking plastic. We had some more technical difficulties, and we ended up using a multi-tool to cut off the plastic, but we won't talk about it, right? Obviously when we did it the last time, we used an impact gun, and that was a stupid idea.
But not all of the plastic. So there's a part of plastic that's cut, but there's a part of plastic there at Will's head that's broke off, and that's from the the gate sump, or the gate nut. The gate spud at the top of the gun. Yeah. Like. If Will wants to add in a photo that we just took today,
yeah, I'll put that in there now. The damage of the spud. Get that in there. And then I have 2 on the other side.
3 on the other side. And
3 on the other side.
3 on the other side.
And we can drop her down. Right, so we have it off the ramps now. Everything's back on, everything's changed, we're all sorted. Now what we're going to need to do is get rid of the service light. So I have my OBD reader here. If you don't have one of these, I will leave a card up in the corner here for a video for you to go and watch where you can get one. Also there'll be a link in the description. But these things are very handy. It's an OBDeleven. You basically plug it into your OBD port and you get an app on your phone. So I'm going to hit connect here now, select my device, and we're just going to make sure the ignition's on first of all. And then it's going to be able to scan all the control units and everything, and we're going to be able to one click just turn the light off rather than having to, like, you know, hold this button, hold that button and all the rest of it. So we're just going to let it do its thing here for a second. Right, okay, so we're on this screen here. So from this home screen you can see it's reading that it's my Audi A3. We're going to go to apps down the bottom, and we're going to go over to workshop, and we want to find oil service reset there at the bottom. So I'm going to hit change value. You can see here in the corner it says it's going to cost 10 credits. I have 10 credits, so I can hit reset, activate, and it's as easy as that. So that's your oil service reset done. And now what we're also going to do is going to go back into workshop. We also want to reset your inspection. So this is the other one, inspection service reset. We're going to hit change value and reset, activate that, and that's going to reset your service light essentially. So you're going to reset your service light, reset your oil light, and now hopefully this has been sitting here long enough that the oil has kind of got to a level where we can check it with the dipstick. So we're just going to go and do that. We're just going to do a quick dip test just to check that there's enough oil in the thing. Just wipe that clean, dip her down. Yeah, that's barely touching it. So I'm going to stick some more oil in, which is exactly why you don't overfill it at first, because then now once it's level you can kind of tell. Now I know that I need to have more. I thought it was going to take 4 and that would be it, but sure, we'll see. At this point as well, it's also a good idea just to check your coolant level. Mine's just below, just above the minimum line there, so we should be okay. And then you're also just want to top of your washer fluid, because I know mine needs doing. So I'm going to do that, stick some more oil in, and we should be done. Right, so I had another couple of like small bits left in some other bottles of oil, so I'm after putting that in, probably about another litre or so. And let me just do the double fucking check here. We've let it settle for a minute. And she's bang on perfect there now in the middle. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. That's how you service an Audi A3 8V 2-litre diesel. Well, any of the diesels really. And if you're doing it with your petrol version, it's not going to be too dissimilar as to where stuff is. Obviously, as to, you know, you're going to be using might be using a different oil. It might still be 5W30 in fairness. And obviously, don't put diesel in your fuel filter, put petrol, because that'd be very bad. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have enjoyed the video and it's helped you service your own car, then please drop us a like. It really helps out the channel. Also, don't forget to go down there, click the subscribe button, and make sure you ding dong the notification bell so you get notified every single time we upload. We upload on modifications, on servicing to do with cars, and also with vans now as well, with Ben's acquisition of the van last year. So we're expanding the channel the whole time. There's big things coming for this. I am still saving for the exhaust. It will be done this year. I swear to God. It will, I swear. And also don't forget that the links to everything you're going to need to do this service, the parts, the tools, everything is going to be down in the description. Nice and handy for you to go and get for yourselves. So again, from me and Ben, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in